happy to report we figured it out. But I give you no backstory. So you're like, I don't know what he's talking about, but that's the show. What the hell is Timmy talking about? So Rubber Shoes earlier today. You'll notice he's in the Portsmouth studios today. Rubber Shoes earlier today was like, hey, can you figure out adding me to your office? I'm like, sure, we can figure that out. Perfect. So he's set up over there. He's that way from me.
Okay.
He's that way. That makes no directional sense for anybody because it looks like I'm pointing out a window, but I am pointing to Rubber Shoes.
Sounds like it's snowing a little bit.
What's happening?
You guys hear that? Live and direct.
Now we got feedback. Are you getting some stuff? Really? Are you?
It's not feedback. It just sounds snowy, I think.
I don't hear.
Weird. It sounds like a little
I heard something. So we're going to do some stuff in real time. I think. I think we're going to do some stuff in real time because I'm losing my mind. Are you getting less snow now?
Yes, much better.
Okay.
I literally just turned the gain down a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
so I did some tweaking. Our senior, Jesus, just now she has to get a holiday bonus. Our senior executive producer, Cheryl, because she's watching it on her new TV.
Yes. Hi, Cheryl.
She's now watching. Yeah, she now has YouTube on the television in her living room in beautiful downtown Chelmsford. She made the note, and we've been talking about this, that I think there's so much compression on my mic through my board into the show. And we've all got, obviously, our different audio setups at our house. She's like, you're always low. And I'm like, we've been talking about this. So I made some tweaks. She also, you notice, she went full Ash Wednesday on my mic cover. She's like, I think the pink's distracting. I'm like, well, my face, I'm trying to cause any distractions. Besides, looking at my actual face, you know? So yeah, we've hit Holy Thursday here with the
we're not even to Thanksgiving yet. We're already at Holy Thursday.
We're not even there yet. So all that being said, we've made some audio changes. We'll see, because right now it sounds fine. Guarantee I'll be driving home, God willing, up 16 through 95 safely. Terrible accident on 95 today, by the way. For those of you scoring at home, it'll be on the quiz later. And we'll see if the audio comes out in the end. We've got Corey in hair and makeup. Scotty's in hair and makeup. So you got Rubber Shoes joining me in Portsdale. And, of course, Adam in beautiful downtown Connecticut. We're going to get into it, and we're going to get out of it because Rubber Shoes is here, and he's bigger than me, and I don't want to anger the gentleman in person. Get your WNBA report out of the way. Where do we stand right now?
Excellent. We're 1-1 in the series. It is they're in Minnesota tonight, 8:00 on, I believe it's on ESPN2. It would be my guess. I mean, it's a great series so far. The first game was an overtime thriller. The Lynx came back from 18 down with 5 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter and to tie it. Went into overtime, and then they won. And then the second game, the Liberty won what they were supposed to win the first time. They won by I think they won by 10 in the second game. Both good games. Should be a good game tonight. It's going to be fun. And I will mention one other thing, which we've never talked about on this show, but Brianna Stewart and Nafisa Collier have started a new basketball league called Unrivaled. It's like a 3-on-3. It's like the Ice Cube thing.
Oh, it's like Ice Cube, but for the girls.
But for the girls. And TNT just signed a multi-year deal to carry those games.
And who better be on the desk?
Hell
Get me Ernie, get me Chuck. Can you imagine?
That's right.
Can you imagine? Ernie,
I mean, they're not going to have the NBA.
Ernie, if they miss another layup, this is terrible. Terrible.
I better hope none of those women are from San Antonio. I'll tell you that much.
I have to tell you, not because of the weight of the television. Well, the old one going out was 4,000 pounds, replacing Trill's TV, but because of the complexity of the, it was like a game of operation getting into the situation. Less ridiculous than I thought, but I said at a stout 5.9, I'm probably not going to be able to do it on my own, so I'm just going to get another adult in the room. So Rubber Shoes came over to help with Cheryl's TV over the weekend. And it was in a quiet moment. He's like, let me ask you something. are you really watching the WNBA or are you just humoring Adam? And I said, just like I said in the chat, truth be told, I'm in on Caitlin, and I'm less in on the Connecticut Sun, because I'm not just going to bandwagon on it. But obviously, when it gets right down to it, I mean, I'm also not an MLS fan, but I'm a Revolution fan, right? Same.
Right,
like
right.
It's the same
idea. Yep.
But you were talking the other day, and then we got active in the chat on the show chat because it turned into rubber shoes, get off my lawn. You can see him like up in the last row, in the wooden bleachers with his hot coffee. And, he's got brown mustard packets in his pocket for no apparent reason because he didn't buy a pretzel. But I feel like an old man should just have brown mustard on call.
Makes sense. That makes a lot of
Rubber
sense.
shoes is from the regime that is still keeping score. Via like he has got the scorecard, he's keeping so you guys are just firing shots over each other's bows, and you're talking about the fact that because we're he and I are complaining about the fact that there've been a couple of blowouts in the baseball series. And you're like, oh, hang on, like you stood right up. You're like, oh, good, it's my turn. You're like, much closer series, blah blah blah, and then Rubber Shoes absolutely hurdles an IED into the conversation and says it's a thinking man's game. To which you were Corey-esque in your reply. Because you're like, I'm not going to hit the fastball, but I bet you I'll think about it. I was going to jump in and I'm complimenting you now. I suppose it's probably more glorious for me to compliment you on the show than do it in our private chat. That was, it's such an indoor sport for me to find a topic to just throw in between the two of you. Like it's just, And that started. I'm like, oh, this is the next 4 hours of my afternoon. Yeah.
Right. It's so much fun. Yeah.
Yep. Back and forth.
Yeah. It's good stuff. It's good.
So Game 3 is tonight.
Game 3 is tonight.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm pro Lynx. I think I threw that in for sure. But like as I said to you, Caitlin's out. The Sun are out. I'm out. My interest wanes pretty quickly. And truth be told, I'm watching right now. I'm almost like a Kamala Harris voter. I'm voting because I don't want the other side to win. So I'm watching right now. You're welcome. I'm watching right now because I just don't want to see New York advance, and they're gonna because the Yankees spank me's are already up 2-0, which is
wait.
horrifying.
So you gave me a compliment and then really backhanded me on the Kamala Harris thing.
I couldn't help you. Well, listen. And you and I haven't got our show in yet, but we'll get it in at some point. No, 4,000%. Let me say this concerning that, because we're not going down. We're not going down Route 95 because it's jammed full of traffic. I promise you. What is it?
Yeah, let's hear it.
3 weeks yesterday.
Yep.
Yeah, 3 weeks yesterday. You'll be in a very good mood. That is my early prediction.
Oh, we shall see.
Grandpa Joe got 81 million votes. She's getting 84, dude. I'm putting it in early. I'm putting it in early.
All right.
84
Listen, I'm
million
not
votes.
that excited about Nostradamus calling the election 3 weeks out, but
people love it. People
I'll
love
help
it.
that.
Yeah, I was out back-to-back traffic signing babies earlier, making predictions about the politics. People love it. The America's starved for it.
I'm sure.
So I got a question for you, Adam.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Does your TV get Fox News?
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so you watch it tonight?
Skips by it. Oh yeah, she's on tonight, dude. 6 o'clock.
Yeah. No, I'll watch that. I'll watch that for sure. No, I like Fox News, especially when Pete Buttigieg is on there and reading into the conservatives. It's very fun to watch. But the news part of Fox News doesn't bother me. It's the opinion part of Fox News that I cannot tolerate.
Yeah,
but,
I appreciate that.
In all fairness, the one thing I will say is I like the fact that there are accounts now, not accounts, profiles now on DirecTV, so nobody can see whether I'm watching Fox News or not in the Lindsay household. So.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Yes. Profiles. Well, yeah. I love that you made that point because a long time ago, well, for two reasons. If you come in my office, I've usually have it on CNBC, but I've been keeping it on ESPN as of late. Because I realize if I'm not keeping a slight eye on the sports during the day, then I'm coming in on Wednesday ice cold, which is really my gift to the show.
Obviously.
And then the TV over my shoulder up here, I always keep on CNN for two reasons. 9,000%
news.
9,000% of the people I work with probably prefer that channel.
Yep.
And it's almost it's like a beard for me, to use a really bad social term. Yeah, it's like everybody knows Grandpa Lindsay probably is not watching this by choice, but I'm leaving it up so I don't pick any fights. And truth be told, I'll never forget this when Howard was when I used to listen to Howard. Howard would always say, "Whoever's in the White House, watch the other network," and that used to make sense for me. My honest reason. I'd rather watch CNN for the news because I think they're less opinion shows.
Agreed.
And for me, as an elephant, I resemble that remark. For me for Team Red, for me to put on the Red channel and go into a 24-hour echo chamber doesn't really challenge critical thought.
I do like that you called it the Red channel because that makes me think of Russia. And it's kind of akin to Russian television.
I love you, and you're going to be happy for the next 4 years. Probably the next 16. Who knows? But
let's hope.
My
One can only
3-week
hope.
prediction. There, our politics segment is over. Nobody got injured.
Nobody. As soon as it went to Russia, you changed this topic. All right, that's good. Let's go. Let's go.
What you should know, as I was tracking down 95 safely last week, heading for beautiful downtown Bentley Lane, I was texting Rubber Shoes and Nana Lindsay to make sure
Safely.
They both knew that I was heading in. And at that point, Cheryl realized when we got to the house, she's like, "Oh, I have Rubber Shoes' number now." So now, because she knows I'm not going to entertain any of it. Now, if she has, now the senior executive producer can reach out to the executive producer and gang up on us during the show. How many texts have you got already? Have you got any texts yet? Nothing?
No.
Nothing.
Oh.
Well, he's like, well, there was something earlier.
I texted her to thank her.
Yeah.
And then she replied back a couple times. So
nothing about the show tonight, though.
Yeah.
Nothing since we
so
turned the mics on.
until it's over, and then she'll be like, "Why so much politics?"
Yeah, there might be some of that, but I feel like we kept it inside.
I don't
the
do
guardrails.
as good of an impression of Cheryl as you do. So,
I don't do a good. I guarantee Cheryl would tell you I don't do a good impression of Cheryl. And we're gonna get off at this exit just to preserve our sanity.
Yes.
All right, so I feel like we should save the Patriots for dessert. Yes.
That seems.
We
good.
need Bruins
Seems
predictions, and Scotty threw his Bruins prediction into the chat.
He threw
Celtics
predictions.
Oh, I apologize. We did Bruins. I apologize. Yeah, Scotty threw his Celtics prediction into the chat.
Very specific prediction.
Yeah,
Very
he was.
Specific
Yep.
prediction.
He obviously letting us know he was going to be in hair and makeup tonight. NBA predictions are Celtics go 65-17, one more win than last year's record, and beat the Heat, Bucks, and Knicks in that order in the playoffs, and finish the repeat championship with a Game 5 victory over OKC. Tatum gets Finals MVP this time, though. Very specific.
Very specific.
Very
yes.
specific. I'm going to one-up him because he's so positive. And I feel like in 3 weeks, I'll need something positive in my life. So I'm going to go 66-16.
Okay, 66-16. That's
going
very positive.
Just to showcase Showdown Scotty. 66-16. There's no back-to-back. I think.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, here comes Negative Nelly. You're welcome. I think it's just hard to do in general in any sport. Are we wired for it? Sure. And here comes why it's not going to happen. There's going to be an injury to one of the big two.
Oh, God. What's wrong with you?
You're welcome.
Oh, God.
So what do you got?
All right.
What do you got?
Rubber Shoes, you want to go or you want me to go?
You go ahead.
All right. Listen, I've thought long and hard about this. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I've watched every preseason game, which I know preseason means absolutely nothing. And they didn't really, they played the Nuggets, but let's be honest, it wasn't starters versus starters for the whole game.
Mm-hmm.
And it was in Abu Dhabi. But with that being said, I think there is the biggest chip on anybody's shoulder that you could ever possibly have with Jaylen Brown.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Tatum is so, he's not a guy that's going to show that he's angry, but I think inside he's fueled by the fact that he was benched in the Olympics, basically made a national spectacle of that he didn't play in the Olympics. And so those two things combined, along with, I think, a quicker recovery for Porzingis than most people are expecting, I am going to go way out on a limb, and I am going to predict the best record in the history of the NBA, 74-8. And I think Tatum will win the MVP of the season.
Okay.
The whole season. And I do predict a back-to-back. I don't think you can win. If you go 74-8 and you don't go back-to-back, that's pathetic. And so I'm going to predict back-to-back, and I do agree with Scotty. I think they will play OKC in the finals.
All right. Rubber shoes.
All right, I will say 70-12.
Okay, I like that.
They will not see the Heat in the playoffs because they're not going to make it this year.
Okay.
They will beat the Sixers in the second round, the Knicks in the conference championship, and they will beat the Denver Nuggets for the championship.
Wow. A repeat.
Okay.
Because I agree. I think both those guys have chips on the shoulders.
Yeah.
All right.
Also, I don't know if you guys have watched any of the preseason with the Celtics.
Yes.
And I know this doesn't matter, again, it's preseason, but Peyton Pritchard is shooting the freaking lights out of the ball. I mean, he's become one of those guys that when he shoots, you expect it to go in, not like, "Ooh, I hope that goes in." You're expecting him to make it. So, and I think Cornette is going to be a serviceable replacement for Porzingis, and Keita is going to have an outsized role in the first half of the season. I think he'll probably see the pine when Porzingis comes back. But
sure. Who are you most excited about?
Who am I most excited about? I think I'm most excited about Pritchard, honestly. I mean, I love, obviously, the starting five, but Pritchard has just got that look in his eye that you love to see from the guy who's your first or second guy off the bench.
Yeah.
And, he's basically been running the show for the preseason, and he's just been lights out. So I'm most excited about the leap that he's going to take. I think he's going to take a big leap forward.
Speaking of leaps, I think their bench gets deeper this year, and we're going to see some Jordan Walsh this year.
I
hope that Mazzulla plays these guys, gets them ready for the playoffs, that we have a deeper bench in the playoffs also.
How deep do you think they'll go? 8, 9?
It'd be nice if they can go. Yeah, so so Porzingis comes back, you got Cornette, and I think Keita will play in the playoffs. Pritchard, Hauser. So that's 9 right there. I think they could go 10.
Wow. Scal said something interesting the other night and it's common, it's common sense once you hear it, but I hadn't really thought about it. Jordan Walsh playing against Tatum and Brown at that position every day in practice, it's like steel sharpens steel, right? Or iron sharpens iron, whatever. Basically he's saying, like, the reason this guy has taken such a leap in his second year is because he's going against two of the best players at their position in the league, because he looked amazing in the preseason. I mean, literally, if he's your 8th guy off the bench, you're in great shape, like really good shape. And I'd be surprised if he's around for too many years on the Celtics. I bet he's going to sign a big deal when he's done with his rookie contract, would be my guess. And then at that point we'll have new owners. So who knows what their pocketbooks are going to look like. So, but enjoy it while it lasts. Hopefully he does do some damage this season when he comes off the bench.
Has there been any more scuttlebutt about who that might be when it comes to the ownership question?
No, I think what I heard Wick say was that basically they're just finishing up the financials. You got to get a whole financial book together, and he said he knows who the people are that are interested, but they haven't really spoken yet, so he's not making those names public or anything. I mean, I would be surprised if Pag's, group didn't put probably the best package together. All this talk about Win and Bezos and stuff. I don't know. I don't buy all of that. I think that's hard to believe. I would be more inclined to think that Pags probably gets it, but I don't know. We'll see.
Do you think there's something coming from the Fenway Sports Group? Do you think there's something coming from Kraft?
Oh, I don't know. I hadn't even thought about Kraft, but
definitely not Kraft.
No. All right.
What happens if the Fenway Sports Group does something and they buy the team and LeBron's a part of that and he's still playing? Like Brady, we haven't even talked about it, but Brady's not allowed to go into
be able to.
Yeah, see,
be part of that. Yeah.
That was my point about Brady, and they made it official. He can't,
right?
Which is really interesting in his position. Getting way off track, but that's what the show is all about. Welcome back, everybody. Yeah, to the Brady point, for him to go and have production meetings, quarterback meetings, all that kind of stuff. Like he's now recused from all of that because of his position with the Raiders,
right?
Which is interesting. I truly don't think Brady's going to. We were chatting on the show thread over the weekend. I think he sounds better every weekend.
100%.
Janina feels like he's a little Shoutosaurus Rex, but I just think that's his energy around the game.
Yeah,
and I think that I'd much rather have him be a little bit louder and maybe a little try-hardish as opposed to. So yeah, it's really an improvement he's going to want to make over the next couple of weeks. Like that's just not his energy around football in general, right?
I mean, if
football and he rips his shirt off and runs down across the street, So yeah,
if Romo can be Shoutosaurus Rex, I mean Brady can too. I mean Romo's screaming his head off.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a different brand.
Booth, so.
Yeah, well, he's got his. It's going to be interesting to see what Brady's thing is. I feel like every time I hear Brady talking, he's always offering a new insight, and it's because we just opened him on Christmas morning and we haven't seen.
Yeah.
There hasn't been enough of a run to be like, oh, that's one of his things. The here we go, Jim. Like that's Romo on everything. Right. Like they both get up to use the men's room. He's like, here we go, Jim. Every time and they do anything, he just opens with that, which is sort of fascinating. That is interesting. Yeah, the LeBron piece is annoying, and that's why I was talking. I pitched it to Bobby Dugan, who has no sway whatsoever. No disrespect, Bobby Dugan. Never. He has no sway, but I said to him, my dream is that it is Bezos. They build the new arena and it's called the Distribution Center. And he just wrote back. He's like, that's one of your best. And I'm like, I appreciate that.
Thank you. Will they consult you on the name of the arena?
Here's why I think it's Kraft. I think Kraft already had designs. Rubbish Shoes is against this, so I'm going to keep talking. I'll shut your mic off, goddammit. So I think Kraft has already had designs on being over in that area for the soccer arena that they proposed a long time ago. They want about a 22,000 seat soccer arena for the Revs to have their own space. And also it creates another cool outdoor concert venue in Boston, not to mention the new arena would as well. And that allows him to pull some concerts away from John Henry. Not that there's love lost, but I don't think Bobby Kraft would be upset to do that because you're going to have the Taylor Swifts that need 68,000 seats.
Right.
And then, and if you and me and Rubbish Shoes ever decide to start a rap group, we'd probably need 22,000 seats and we'd only fill half of it. Right. So I think.
Wait, what? We'd only fill half of it?
Yeah.
Have you seen Rubbish Shoes dance?
I have. Injury free. Injury free.
Oh, okay,
injury free. So yeah, I think I'd be shocked if Kraft's not part of the conversation. I really would.
Well, it's interesting. First of all, two things. One is, I had not thought about the soccer angle, but did you just see that there's a new and not affiliated with Kraft?
Terrible name. Yes.
You don't like the name? I love the name. Did you hear the explanation for it?
Boss Nation.
Boss Nation. Boss Nation FC.
Terrible.
For those of you that don't know, it's a new women's soccer club that's going to be in the NWSL. I love it. It's
a professional women's football club in New England. Yes. Boss Nation. Terrible name.
Oh, I liked it.
Terrible name.
All right. Well, anyways.
That was like everybody was hungry. They wanted to go to lunch and they wrapped it up at 11:58. That is a marketing meeting that probably should have been extended 10 minutes and you should have called me. It's a
Oh,
terrible name.
I mean, you did come up with the distribution center, so you know, I mean,
Phone call
obviously
away,
you should have been
Jeff.
involved.
Just call me, Jeff. Yeah, I think the Boss Nation is terrible. Terrible.
But anyways, I think that you could conceivably see the Revolution and Boss Nation play in a downtown Boston arena or outdoor arena.
Yep.
And I think, now you're talking about it, makes sense. Did you happen to see Kraft on the Breakfast Club this morning?
I did not.
Oh, they asked him about Brady.
Mhm.
And first of all, I mean, I know he's been asked about Brady a number of times, but they were asking him about it in the context of Brady Belichick.
Yeah.
And it was really, I thought it was eye-opening because I think everybody sort of understands the underlying that he kind of is annoyed with Belichick and loves Brady, right?
Mhm.
But he pretty much came out and said it. You should go watch the interview. It's like it's like a 40-minute interview, probably 35 minutes in. He talks about Brady and Belichick.
So I feel like we're talking about the same interview, but I think I heard the audio yesterday.
Oh, maybe.
So are you positive it was today?
No, I'm not. I
Okay.
saw it on YouTube, so I didn't know.
Yeah, 4,000%.
yesterday.
I think we're talking about the same interview, and he
Yeah, that's
alludes
the
to.
one. He also comes out and says that he fired Belichick.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Which they really are the organization that loves to do that.
Yep.
They love to tell you in the moment, and everyone knew. Anyway, the adults in the room knew that it was a mutual parting of ways.
Right. Come on.
Bill was just up there. And like, I really love, like the other day, and I know we've talked about this ad nauseum, but the whole will Bill take another job? And
right.
I'm gonna die on the hill that it'll be the Giants, and people are just like, no, it'll be the Jets. There was that show, and I know we talked about this in recent weeks. There was that show where the 30 for 30, where him and Parcells were at was it MetLife then, or was it still the Meadowlands? I don't know. I think it was MetLife at that point. They were at MetLife, and they toured the Giants locker room, and that little segment where he's like, they want us to go into the Jets locker room. Parcells like, nope, we're ending it here. Where's the elevator? He had no desire to go in there. So that's first and foremost. And if you caught him on Monday night on the first half, he always does quarter one and quarter two with Omaha Productions, with Peyton and Eli. And he said, like, he made sure he said it enough that nobody in the country, on the planet, could have missed it.
About Woody.
He goes, well, it's same old thing with this ownership. Ready, fire, aim. He said it like 3 times.
I know.
He's like lighting any paper mache statue of him as a Jets head coach on fire.
Right.
Like, he does not want that job. And it was a pleasure also to watch them lose. And I don't think, do you think Devontae goes in and makes a big difference?
No.
Does that solve that crime for them? That doesn't solve that crime.
It makes them better.
It doesn't make them worse. I appreciate that, but I don't think it's going to be like, oh, we're healed now.
Is their problem the wide receiver position? No, it's not. That's not their problem. Their problem is, well, really everything. And their problem is their quarterback is just an idiot, frankly. And that's what the only thing that gave me pause about Belichick going to the Jets was because of the praise that he heaps on Aaron Rodgers any chance he gets.
Sure. Yep.
So, but outside of that, I get it. I would be shocked if he went to the Jets.
Yeah, I'd be stunned. I think, and I don't know how he lives in a world with Jerry Jones. I think that's so far-fetched that he would never take the Cowboy job. I think the only one he would take is the Giants, because I'm going to die on that hill, because I've been saying it for a while.
I agree with you. I think he goes to the Giants.
So going back to the Celtics.
He did a human pause about 17 minutes ago after I said distribution center. He's so patient. Yeah. So patient.
So what I've heard on the airways is that once they do finish the financials, that it will move quickly from that point. That they have people already set up, ready to go.
I would also love like a dream scenario, like Pags, obviously, Kraft, because he built out all that space with an arena and then the soccer, and just a huge middle finger to Fenway Sports Group, and LeBron, to your point, which would be gross if that happened. The dream sequence is just like a cavalcade of Barneys from Boston. Like the Affleck boys, Matt Damon, Donnie Wahlberg.
Donnie and Mark Wahlberg, yep.
Tom Brady's out of the conversation now, but like 30 minutes ago, he was in this dream sequence for me.
Big Poppy would be great.
Yeah, like everybody who ever loved Boston is like, let's do it.
Brady could still be.
He could still be. Yeah, he still could have a percentage, right?
Yeah.
Because
He can?
he's enough
It's
of
a
a
different
minority
sport.
owner, probably.
It's a different
Oh.
sport.
No.
It's a different sport.
Oh,
Right.
oh,
I'm not
true,
even- yeah,
true.
I'm
Yeah,
not-
yeah, yeah.
Thank you, Rubber Shoes, for bringing us back down to
Yeah,
earth.
good point.
I would
Good
love
point.
that. That would
Pierce?
be my dream. My dream sequence would be just a bunch of assholes from Boston.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Just
that would be
bought
the
it.
absolute best.
And then they change the name to the Boss Nation. That would be great.
So
Holy
one quick
shit.
note on my favorite topic, LeBron James.
Oh no.
He's doing a disservice to his son by keeping him on the team. That kid needs to be in the D League really bad.
Is it
D-League?
that bad? I don't watch the Lakers when
the G League, D League. I don't know what they call it anymore.
it's the G League.
Oh,
now.
okay. I
Yes,
thought you were
the
like trying to
the
make it
Gatorade
worse
League.
than the
It's
G League. Yes.
The G League. Yeah.
He needs to really, if he's going to develop, he needs to be there because he's not going to develop being the garbage time guy at the end of the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
He has been horrible during preseason.
So can he officially? I think he has to wait until opening night to be able to say, "Oh, I officially played with my son in the NBA," and then they
Right.
could demote him down to the G League. And
But I don't.
because I totally agree with you. He's a
Because
horror
he
show.
signed a contract with the Lakers. It wasn't a two-way contract.
Oh.
Oh, that's true. That's true. That's a good point.
I love it. I
he-
love it. It's
Yeah, I think he is really. He looked
because what are they
Bad.
preseason right now? 1-4 or something like that? Or are they?
so he looked bad
Oh, who
against
knows?
the summer league guys. But he looked like he kind of belonged with those players
Yeah.
during preseason. He looks 2 steps behind everyone out there.
Yeah, yeah. I totally
It's
agree.
bad.
I'm shocked that he's still playing in the NBA and not in the G League. It's amazing. I mean, not surprised, but shocked. Which
Like
Yeah.
I don't think he can be sent down. If you
yeah.
have
Oh,
a
I didn't think of that.
contract
That makes
I-
that makes sense actually.
because I think all the players that go to Maine have the 2-way contracts. Oh, maybe Jordan Walsh had a signed a contract, so maybe he can go down to G League.
On the main Celtics, even though it's still a Red Claw logo. So
Yeah.
stupid. So stupid.
Maybe he could. But
The
he
Red
definitely-
Claws.
he
It's
should
it's
not-
such
Corey
a
to fly over
travesty
for a
that they're
weekend
not.
and just fix that. Another bad marketing meeting.
He definitely.
Are
should
you
not
wait? Are
be
you
on that
saying
team.
it should be the Red Claws, or are you saying it should be?
1,000%.
Yes. Okay.
1,000%.
Good. Me too.
Yes.
Totally
1,000%.
agree.
You
It's
changed
such
it.
a
You
shame.
changed it to the main Celtics,
Right.
but you still got a
Awful.
crustacean painted on the center of the court. It's manic. It's really manic. It's
Yeah.
yeah, maniacs up there. Yes, pun
And
intended.
I heard the other thing Scal said was that main Celtics team could probably be a top 10 NBA team
Well,
if that's how deep it is. I mean, and
That's
he's
unreal.
not wrong. I mean, they have
That's
a lot
unreal.
of depth. It's amazing. They were in the finals last year, the G League. So we shall see.
Yep. Bruins 2-2. I believe. Yeah, 2-2. Lost to Florida on both of those.
Yeah.
I think that gets sorted out. I think it's a really good Panthers team, obviously.
With the game on Monday, they didn't have Kachuk or their other the captain. I can't remember his name, but they were both missing on Monday, and they came out. They looked pretty good the first period, and then it seemed like the problem with the Bruins against the Panthers is they try to play the Panthers game against them, and it doesn't work. They end up getting themselves into penalty trouble, and they just can't keep their wits about them.
Yeah.
They fall into the trap.
I think. Well, and I think not that Swayman's not comfortable. He looks good out there, but he just arguably a little behind
I don't think
on feeling good.
I know for a fact 2 of those goals weren't his fault because Poitras took him out for one of them.
Yep.
And then I'm trying to remember the other one, but 2 of them definitely weren't his fault. I don't think all 4 of them were his fault.
Sure. Who do we? Oh,
Well, they don't play them again until like March or something.
it's a
like
ways
that,
out.
so
Yeah, it's a
that's-
ways out. So when we get to Sunday, we're playing at 9:30.
Yep.
The Pats are 9:30 on Sunday.
I know. I was gonna golf, but I'm like,
is there an advantage for Jacksonville hanging out there? Do you think there's a slight advantage for us?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I definitely think.
Yeah.
But Mac Jones is playing, right? Is he the starter?
No,
I haven't heard.
Who threw that out there?
Yeah.
You threw that out there, right?
That wasn't me. I didn't throw that out there.
Was that Corey?
Oh, Corey.
Was it Corey?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I was like,
yeah, that is nowhere to be found.
Yeah,
that's nowhere to be found.
Okay.
Trevor Lawrence is the starter. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Which
that would be amazing.
When I saw it, yes, you're not wrong. It would be amazing. And I saw it, and it just goes in this myriad of items that drive me crazy. I feel like, and I truly got nothing against him. Like, I'm over the whole Deflate Gate and stuff like that. Like, Goodell is my favorite commissioner. Does anybody have a favorite commissioner?
Probably not.
No. So he's just annoying. I feel like he wakes up and the NFL just creates storylines. And when I saw that, I'm like, okay, here's a throwaway game, two awful teams, but he just got delivered a storyline. Because if that did happen, the viewership would be through the roof. People on the West Coast, Bobby Dugan, people on the West Coast would be up at 6:29 to watch that game.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Because it becomes like this is relatively exciting now because you're going to watch.
Well,
Mac Jones.
more people
Maybe
than are
I'll
going
play.
to watch it without him.
I don't think, unless you're a fan of both of those, one of those teams, you're not getting up on the West Coast at that time to watch that game at all.
Dugan's definitely not getting up. So that's interesting.
I'm not convinced I'm getting up at 9:30 to watch.
If I lived in England, I wouldn't get up to watch this game.
Yeah, exactly.
If I wasn't rooting for one of them.
Rubber Shoes would put his bangers and mash on slow heat.
Yeah, he would.
Leave him in the oven with some foil over the top. So, how do you feel about his first foray into the NFL? His first start. You feeling good?
I was. It's something to root for now.
Yeah, well,
Although
it's interesting. Finally, yes.
One of the guys that was in the camp of, I'd like to see him sit for the full year and learn. But the thing is, he's learning from Jacoby Brissett, so you're not learning anything sitting behind him. They screwed this up again, and I don't think that Drake May has a mental problem like Mac Jones does. Like I don't think he's as sensitive as Mac Jones was. So it'll be harder to destroy him. But that
sound like you're making a plan.
They totally. I mean, Mac Jones made the playoffs in his first year. He made the the All-Star game, whatever the hell they call it.
Right, Pro Bowl.
But he was like the 8th choice or something like that.
Yeah.
But he had a good season for his rookie season, and it
just got worse. Yeah. Yep.
Like giving him no coaching the second year, and then he just totally lost his confidence. I don't think Drake May loses his confidence that easy. So he can take some lumps this year. He'll be fine. I just want to see him grow as the season goes on, and as I was saying in the chat, I want them to get a stud left tackle for next year.
Yep.
First round.
Well,
Travis Hunter is a stud, or Hunter Travis, which is
Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter. Yep. He's still getting projected as the number 2 because they're talking about
Ewers.
No, Shadur Sanders being 1 for the Browns.
Really?
Yep.
They're gonna 2 Buffaloes going.
That's the
1-2?
projection I saw earlier today. With us taking Travis at 2.
The first pick, it won't be either of those, I don't think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and to your point about the whole, wait him for the year. I wasn't against that. Like whatever they were going to do was going to be, we're going to have to tolerate. Like I thought at one point, I'm like, okay, I think they're just going to stay with Jacoby the whole way, which would be a horror show. Again, this is what they do. Because just a week ago, you had Coach Mayo saying, well, it would be, a disservice to put him out there with the current offensive line. And nothing's changed. It's actually gotten worse since the start of the season because David Andrews is no longer playing. So you now have a more depleted offensive line, and he's like, well, it's just time now. Now it's time.
He's sick of losing, but he's going to lose anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
I completely appreciate that. So my argument is going back to like week 1, and not that we didn't need Jacoby. I'd still love to see Joe Milton. And not that I want anything to happen to Drake May. But let's say we decide to put a foot in the ass of Jacksonville over in jolly old England. I'd love to see it like, okay, we're up by 70,000 points, and we're just going to throw Joe Milton in the fourth quarter for garbage time.
Yeah.
I'd rather see them do that and get him some reps. All that being said, I just annoyed that they decided to not just start him. He'd be 6 games better if they had just started him.
And at this point, I definitely
he'd be dangerous. Like he'd be getting towards dangerous. I think he's going to get better every week. His confidence, he's just got a different confidence, I think a different level of confidence than Mac did. It's not Brady level. Like Brady's probably one of the most confident people to ever play in the NFL. But I think where would we be right now if we just put him in, knowing this is what it is? Because we have the offensive line might have created some juju because they've been next to each other, but I wouldn't say they're arguably any better. You didn't put them in a better, safer situation by waiting until the Miami game.
Right.
It's just
Houston game. The Miami game.
Yep.
I don't know why they didn't put him in the Miami game. That's frustrating. And also, I think that
they didn't want me to be right.
The Texans game was just such a horrible game to put him into because let's be honest. I mean, if he played, because I thought he played pretty well in the Texans game. I mean,
honestly,
first start, I thought he played pretty well.
Yeah.
So if he plays that game against Jacksonville,
and a fumble.
Yeah, 2 picks, 3 touchdowns.
Yeah. I mean, it's not. Is it amazing? No, obviously it's not. But it's not.
It's good for his freshman year. I'll tell you.
Better than Jacoby Brissett has been doing. I mean, like Rubbershoe said, I think in the chat, he had more touchdowns in that game than Brissett had in the first 6 or first 5 games of the season. So, to me, why don't you just wait one more week, put him in against Jacksonville, who he might have a decent game against, and hopefully he will this week. I don't know. It's easy to second guess, I guess, but I agree with you on the confidence perspective.
Thought about it was the reason why they started him last week is because Mayo was starting to lose the locker room. The players were getting they're like, why do we have Brissett out there? He's not doing anything to help us.
Yep.
And they were getting ready to have a mutiny. Yeah. And they had to put him in.
Yep.
My big thing is Van Pelt. And it's
a terrible hire to start.
So also
terrible hire.
They come out and they said, they scripted the first 15 plays. Like, were you not gonna put him in? They ran the ball twice up the middle into a brick wall, and it's like, what are you trying to do? I would have been like, okay, let's get a screen pass to the guy the first play.
Yeah.
Get him some confidence. Like 3 and out the first series, and 2 of them were runs into the wall.
Yep.
Like and then they have success at the end of the first half, spread it out, hurry up offense. He got in a groove there, and then they come out in the second half, run the ball. It's like, what are you doing?
Yep.
Like, is he not aware of his surroundings, Van Pelt? Like, he just looks at the script and it's like, okay, we're supposed to do this right now. We're supposed to do this because it's saying that it's supposed to do that. And
I don't think he's creative enough on the fly, and I don't want trick plays every 5 seconds. When you think back to McDaniels, McDaniels in his best years had a good balance. Like you were gonna get a gadget play here and there, and that's not what we need right now. We need just more diversity. Like it's just they go in these 3 yards in a cloud of dust for a handful of plays, and then the most annoying thing, the run doesn't work. Then they throw on first, run on second, and put themselves in a hole on third, and it's just like, I'm not an offensive coordinator. I play one on a podcast on Wednesdays, but like, what are we doing?
So
what are we doing?
To Greg Bedard yesterday, and he said that Van Pelt he has a type of offense he runs, and that's it. He doesn't game plan against another team and then I started to think, I'm like, okay, so you like someone like, God, I hate when
Alpha Brain. Are you taking Alpha Brain?
I did, but I think I might have forgot today.
That is the best worst ad for Alpha Brain.
So that's the thing. This morning,
I did take it, but I forgot today.
What's even worse? He's telling me about Alpha Brain. And it wasn't until I was driving home, I'm like, oh, I think I have some of that at the office. And I do. Yeah, 1,000%. Hang on.
Oh my God.
It's Grandpa Lindsay's drawer of drugs. Hang on.
So what's what's their old offensive coordinator?
See?
Josh
There you go.
McDaniels.
Oh,
Not a
Josh
sponsor yet.
McDaniels. Thank you.
Not a sponsor yet. For memory and focus.
Yeah.
The irony is he doesn't know if he
Yeah.
took it today,
Yeah.
and I forgot I had bought some.
Oh
So
Lord,
they
please
build
make me
a
not turn
game
50,
plan.
please.
It's such a good time. I'll show you around when you get here.
I bet.
And that's also like if
Oh, shit.
you're not seeing what the defense is throwing at you and adjusting to it on the fly, then you're just throwing
Yep.
things out
Yep.
there, which I don't think he can do. And that's a difference between a good coordinator and one that can just go out there and call plays.
Well, and
So-
expose weaknesses, which is what
Yeah.
Belichick was always really good
Yes.
at. Yeah, to your
That's
point,
the
like
biggest thing is the
I run
halftime adjustments.
this offense, it's either going to work this week or
Yeah.
it's not.
Right.
How
And
many
Belichick
years-
would destroy teams like that?
Mhm.
How many years do you think we need to be prepared to have bad coaching? Like, hear me out for a second, because Gerard Mayo's first season, Kraft has come out and vehemently said how much he thinks he's an amazing guy, an amazing coach,
Mhm.
and he's going to be an amazing guy. We have not had good coaching, really, let's be honest, even though we had the world's, the
Mhm.
world's best football coach for
Sure.
a long time. We haven't had it in many years. Now, is it Brady or is it Belichick? That's a discussion to be had. But we feel like, I think the fan base, anyways, myself, we all think we have another quarterback that is at a minimum going to put us in a position to win.
Mhm.
And so now we have that. We're missing the coaching piece. So how long do we have to give it before we cut bait and go to the next coach? Because if you look at the NFL as a whole, I mean, coaches get fired all the time. They're getting fired left and right. I mean, the Jets just
Yeah.
fired their coach, and it just happens every season. Are we just going to sit
Yeah.
here? Because I can see Kraft going, well, our last guy was here for 20 years. I'm going to keep this guy for the next 10, and we could just be wallowing in the basement of the NFL like we were before Brady and Belichick.
Everybody knows that this is his guy. There's no way
Yeah.
that he's going to make a rash decision about it. I do think it's going to be 3 and out. I've been saying this
So-
since he
Okay.
took the
All
run.
right.
Yeah, I've been it's going to be 3 years of this. I don't think I've got nothing. I hope I'm wrong because I really like him.
Yeah.
I don't think
Same.
he's the guy.
No.
I think
Yeah, I agree.
I think when, and I'll give Kraft credit, like he clearly said to him, when Dad leaves, you get the keys to the car, and he stuck by his guns. Because I think when Vrabel became available, that changed the conversation, but it didn't change the conversation.
Right.
Because
Right.
I'd
Which
rather
is
have-
which is
I'd rather
admirable,
have-
actually.
I'd rather have Vrabel over the two. Like sight
No, I would
unseen,
rather have
not knowing.
Vrabel
I think,
too,
I think Vrabel
yeah.
just presents the maturity. He's done it. He's been a playoff head
Right.
coach, and in a completely different environment, for him to bring back his brand of football and the Patriot way back, because he's one of those guys, and I know Mayo represents that too. But I just feel like, and my confidence got worse when they hired Van Pelt. Alex Van Pelt's just not a good
So,
OC at all.
My thought is, unfortunately, the way that things are trending with the Crafts,
Mhm.
they seem to be kind of cheap. And I feel if they have another display of how this season's going next
Yep,
season, they
yep.
should get rid of him next year. But because they
They won't.
owe him another year, they're not
No,
going to let
they
it.
won't.
They're going to make him go the 3 years
Mhm.
and not put any money into it until
Yep.
after that contract's up. And that is going to hurt this franchise going forward
Mhm.
if that's the way they're going to run it. Like, you have to be able to be 2 steps ahead of the other teams. Like, you're like, okay, this isn't working.
Yep.
It doesn't look like it's going to work. We need to cut bait and go with something new and something better. Yeah, someone.
So,
Well, who's on your Christmas list, Adam? You go first. Who's on your Christmas list? So Alex Van Pelt gets whacked in a couple of weeks because a girl can dream. Alex Van Pelt gets a cut in a couple of weeks. I've got my emotional Chestnut Hill pick, but like, who would you go with?
No, yeah.
Oh,
it's
I
not-
have no
it's not
clue.
Flutie, calm down.
No.
no, I have no
You're-
clue. So
you're
you
saying
can
O'Brien,
skip me.
bringing him back.
Mm-mm.
Oh.
Nope. No.
You can skip me. Go
I
ahead.
want Billy O'Brien right
Oh,
where
okay.
he is.
Yeah.
You
All
stay
right.
right where you are, sir. 20 years. 20 years. You don't.
I was going to
move.
say something about ownership, so you go ahead with the OC stuff, because I don't have a
Yeah,
name.
from an NFL local standpoint, never played for them, but I would 4,000% because he's available, because he lost his job on NFL Game Day. Matty Hasselchicken.
Oh,
Just a younger offensive mind.
Yep.
Right. So what you're going to tell me that Alex Van Pelt was a better quarterback than Matt Hasselbeck when he was in the NFL?
But the problem
I haven't looked at the data, as I'm sure you can imagine. Shocker, I know. But emotionally, like, just give me some. I don't like. That's my emotional pick. Like, if we're gonna go,
happen.
No, I know that
because he has no experience. You're basically bringing in someone that's less experienced than the guy you have right now.
Mm-hmm.
I would.
Yes.
They fire Van Pelt tomorrow. I bring in Josh McDaniels back.
Oh,
he is doing nothing available.
Yeah.
He's hanging out on podcasts. That's all he does these days.
See, Rubber Shoes brings reason and rationale to the show.
Does he though?
Yeah.
Does he?
Sometimes.
I'm driving down to Cohasset and I'm in Hasselbeck's front yard, leaning on the horn. Get in the car, goddammit.
Yeah, he wants all these BC guys. Like, oh,
of course
not?
I do.
Why not?
Well, I mean, why wouldn't
Get Flute Dog back as the quarterback coach? Are you kidding?
So on the ownership.
Yep.
Why is it that, okay, so we had this incredible run, 20-year run, not just the Patriots, obviously, the entire city had an incredible run.
Yep.
Do you think these owners get bored or something? Like, why are we now all of a sudden not spending money? Because it seems like we have the same problem with the Red Sox. We've got the same problem with the Patriots. The Celtics are the only team that are competitive right now. I mean, I know the Bruins are somewhat competitive, but the Celtics are the only real championship contenders at this point, and they're the only team that are spending money. So what's the problem? Like, why? I don't understand.
Great point. And going back to, I didn't know where the interview came from. So if that's where Crafty was, where Charlemagne the God on the Breakfast Club, right?
Yeah.
In that conversation, he also drills down a little bit and he talks about the fact that because it had grown so contentious between Brady and Belichick, that he was actually negotiating the contracts for Brady and explaining. Now, Tom, if you understand, if you take less money, we can have more money for Edel Chicken and Bronchosaurus Rex, like, and all that kind of stuff. So, like, he's never spent money. And even beyond all that, I think there's been somebody did a survey. They sent out a survey monkey, very, very accurate. Somebody did a survey a while back, and I think the Chiefs came back as one of the cheapest. Yes. Can I say that? Is that appropriate?
Fair. That's fair.
Cheapest. One of the cheapest organizations in all of the NFL. And there were also conversations, probably not in recent years, but they don't really, the Patriots, if you think about it, not that I'm in the locker room, but like, there's been a lot of scuttlebutt about the fact that, like, it's not actually the palace here. Like, his big splash that he made, because it's very outward, is, when they did Craft Force One, right? He's got the aircrafts, right? And they have those beautiful planes and all that stuff. That's cool. Other teams are doing that now. They stole the idea from him. I guess what's really fascinating is the empire that he was able to build off of the genius of Belichick and Brady and everything they brought to the Patriots for 20 plus years, that he isn't reinvesting back into the team, which is stuff like, there were players bitching about the fact that we'd come in from a practice and it was like Wonder Bread, ham and cheese. And you go to Green Bay and they're eating chicken legs like King Henry, so it's just,
right.
Yeah. It's that kind of stuff is weird. But when you look, then go to, and we talked about this on the initial iteration of this show,
Didn't have daycare.
Wicked Pissa, right? Like, when I remember talking about this back then. I remember saying the beauty of where we are now as a city is they are fighting back when people used to read the paper. Like, everybody wanted to be all the Boston sports teams wanted to be, if you flip the Herald over, that was the front page of the sports.
Yeah.
And everybody wanted the front page. They were fighting. It was literally a measuring contest about who was going to be, the big shit in town, and they have all regressed from that. It's true, Adam. Like
right. It's weird.
Like, it's almost like, well, where can I figure this out? And that's, I mean, honestly, that's a big piece of the Celtics, making sure that they do get the distribution center or whatever it is. Because when they load Celtics fans into the Garden, they're making their cut to pay their rent. They don't get any parking. And they get zero on concessions, I understand. I was in that board meeting, I think. So, like that's a big part of it, because they're looking like, where can we make sure we're making the money? Yeah. It's very Live Nation.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, and yeah, I don't.
And do they go? And do they go? Do they look at? Do these guys look at the ownership? Look at the team as it is formulated, and say, "There's no move we can make, no major splash we can make that's going to put us in championship contention." Because if you look at the Celtics, right? They yes, they had Tatum and Brown, but outside of that, they didn't have a real championship contender. They had those two guys, a couple of smaller pieces. And yeah, they brought in Kyrie, but he was damaged goods, and then Gordon Hayward got hurt. Now all of a sudden it opens up that they can grab Porzingis, they can grab Drew Holiday, and all of a sudden it's like, whoa, we're putting together a contender here now. We're going to start to spend money. With like the Patriots, you go, all right, we don't have our quarterback yet. It's not Jacoby Brissett, certainly. It's not Mac Jones. Oh, now all of a sudden we have our quarterback. Do you think they start spending money again because they think, oh, here's a guy that we can build around? And in the years that they didn't have a guy that could build around, that they slow down the spending? I'm just asking a hypothetical. I don't really know the answer to it.
Well, the problem is they should have started building the base this year.
Yes.
Right. I agree.
The great point, Rubber Shoes. I think the most disturbing two things, and one of them wasn't happening. It was a non-starter for us because of the personal relationship between Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers. Like, that was a fait accompli.
Yeah.
That's where he was going. His hamstring was suddenly fixed.
Yeah.
It's so funny because he showed up. If you were watching McAfee, he showed up behind Rodgers on McAfee. And they're like, how's the hamstring? He's like, oh, I got all my treatment in Vegas. I'm great. I'm ready to go. Like, he's playing. He's going to be at 1,000% on Sunday, right? Still don't think it fixes their problems because FU New York. And but to watch the Bills pop off on Amari Cooper. Like, why are we not in a very gettable AFC East? How are we not grabbing more targets? And because you could, like 20 minutes before the season started, you're like, oh, I think we got some players here that'll do some damage. We got Pop Douglas and a very bad dream right now because nobody else is really showing up. Like, there's nobody else showing up. So they're not investing. My biggest fear.
They re-signed players from their team, which was one of the worst in the league last year.
Well, the challenge is, correct me if I'm wrong, and I usually am, so I'm prepared for it. Drake May's contract is 3 years, correct?
I think usually the rookie contract is an option for the
option
year.
For the fourth.
Yeah.
I can absolutely see us because he's going to swallow it.
Maybe it's 4 and an option for a fifth because
4 and 5. Okay. All right.
Jones is in his 4th year this year. Correct?
Okay. Yep. My biggest fear is the mediocrity is going to be disgusting, and Drake's going to be burnt, and he's going to want to leave.
Yeah.
Well, they gotta build. They have to, and hopefully they can do it through the draft. That's why. Start building the offensive line. Defense is decent. You don't have to worry about that right now. You need to build the offensive line, and I mean the running backs are fine. Their tight ends are fine. Bring in one stud receiver.
Yep. Well,
and then you're right in there.
The other challenge is to now we're in that conversation of like, are we sucking for luck at this point?
Yeah.
And I think we should, quite honestly. This is where you expose Van Pelt. I hope they're writing this down at Patriot Place. And you go to him and just say, listen, it's like a Montessori school. You can take a nap. You can go play in the sand. You can do whatever you want on Sundays. Show us what you think you're capable of doing with this offense. We win, we lose. Nobody really cares.
Right.
Because we're barreling towards mediocrity. And the lower we land, the better we can do to start the stock for next year. And then when he doesn't come out with anything, because to Rubber Shoes' point, he just comes out with, this is my week 6 offense, then we're like, okay, you're not the guy. Then we can shoot him in the back of the head, get the new OC in, Josh McDaniel, brilliant. Glad he brought reason. Hassel Chicken's available, I'll call him. And we got like somebody else. Let's start to at least get the pieces in place.
Right.
While mathematically still putting ourselves in a really great position to be important on a Thursday night in April. That would be delicious.
If they invest, and the thing is, right now you're a bad team. You have to
bad team.
You have
better
to
than Boss
overpay
Nation. Like that name.
Players to come here right now, and they weren't willing to do that with Calvin Ridley. Well, in the offseason, they gave him a good offer, but not one that's going to take him away. Although he went to a bad team also in Tennessee.
That's the other and it's a whole nother show for another time. We're going to make our picks and get on the road. That's a whole nother conversation too. We do have to remember we still have that whether you want to buy into it or not, there's that overhanging, it's Boston, it's racist, and it's a real thing.
Yeah.
It's a real thing with pro athletes. Not to mention, it's not Miami. It's not Vegas.
Yeah.
There's not a Ziploc full of cocaine and 3 hookers just outside your room. You're gonna leave the condo you're renting while you're maybe making the team, eating ham sandwiches and Wonder Bread, and you're gonna be at the no-tell motel. What do they call it? The End Zone Inn? Isn't that where they used to put the hookers? The End Zone Inn? Like we're not the sexiest location either.
Yeah, you're
you
not.
know?
Right.
Someone's not coming here for market value or
Yep.
a little less to play with Belichick and Brady anymore.
Yep.
Right.
You
That's right.
Have
That's
to
right.
overpay to get a stud to come here, and hopefully you show in a couple years that Drake May is someone that people want to play with,
Mhm.
and then you start getting people at discounts. But you're gonna have to overpay for the next 2-3 years to
Right.
build this up to make it a point where people want to come here.
9:30 on Sunday. The Patriots are
6.5 dogs.
underdogs. You got the Jaguars right now giving. I got Vegas Insider gives you, not a sponsor yet, gives you a couple different things. So the best home odds are, they're the home team. Great. The best home odds are giving 5.5, and the best away odds are we're getting 6.5.
All right. I'm in at 21-17 Pats.
What do you got?
Vegas
Shoes?
damned.
I'm gonna say 24-17 Pats.
Oh, we're going
Ooh.
super
And
positive.
Doug Peterson gets fired on the flight
On the
back
flight,
to Jacksonville.
home.
Yes. Added bonus.
Look, Doug, out the window. See the London Eye? No, you didn't see this coming either. They shoot him in the back of the head. Just a body in the plane when they land in Philly, in Jacksonville. I'm gonna go big. I think there's a sophomore week letdown for Drake, because I think his confidence and maybe he's slinging it a little bit more than he should. We're gonna see 2 picks again, and I think I'm just going really weird. Some real random things that you can bet on. Some prop bets, because Aiden loves his prop bets. We're gonna have 2 interceptions for Drake May. He's gonna have a fumble under center. I just said that out loud. There'll be a fumble under center, which is tough.
He's still getting used to that. Yeah.
And then
Scotty's screaming at his computer right now. Screaming.
but I'm gonna go big boy. He's going to throw a touchdown in overtime to win it. I love my overtimes.
Okay.
It's early enough.
All right.
Rubber shoes will be awake. He gets mad when I do late overtimes earlier. So I'm going.
That's fine. Yep.
Yeah, I'm going.
I'll be all settled in. I'm working Saturday at the fire station. I'll be settled in for the 8. So because of the early game, so there's 10 hours of football.
Yep.
Oh well, it's 7 hours for red zone, right? That's what the claim is. There's 7 hours for
Yes. Yeah.
So
yeah.
7 hours plus the 3 on Sunday night. But I go to bed at halftime.
So I'm gonna go.
Nice long day.
34-27.
Wow.
Patriots.
Wow.
Yep.
We're going to put up 34 points?
34-27. Pats winning overtime.
So I got a gambling question.
Pop Douglas.
Pop
Douglas on a post route.
Okay.
You're welcome. So much information. No
So I don't
Nostradamus.
think
Boys, I got a
Adam,
jet. I got a jet right now. Go, boys. I'm sorry to interrupt.
We're
So-
wrapping. Okay.
Are you continuing to
thought?
go or
What's your thought?
rubber shoes? Dan?
All right. All right.
Sorry.
We will be back
Sorry.
at it next week. I have no idea because we're going to check with hair and makeup to see who's doing what, but we'll be back next week. Thanks for hanging
Of
out. We love comments and shares and subscribes and likes, and we're brought to you by our dear friends Joe and Leslie, and Joe's hairline that's racing away from his face, even though he's so good looking. We love him, though. Our dear friends at AAA Work Trucks, who have gainfully
I'm not gonna
employed
get
the
any
entire
more
Rubber
tickets.
Shoes family. Yeah, he's worried about his tickets because
Yeah,
I'm making fun of the ownership.
really, honestly.
It's fine. We'll see you next week. Take care.